G'day, Dries. How's it going?
Yeah, going good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. And it's refreshing to be stood up for once rather than sat in these chairs.
I know. We get to stretch our legs a little.
Yeah, nice. So, and welcome to the VMware on AWS Update Show, which is the AWS reInvent 2023 Special Edition. On the Update Show, we bring you up to speed with new releases and features on everything VMware and AWS related. I'm Chris Porter, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Dries and Hurt.
In this special edition of the Update Show, we're sending Chris all the way from our studio here in Sydney to reInvent in Las Vegas. He'll be there getting the latest inside info on what's new from the conference related to VMware and AWS. So with that, Chris, you better get going to the airport, and I'm looking forward to catching up when you get back.
Yeah, I really better get going, so I'll see you when I'm back. Bye.
See you.
So here I am. I've made it all the way to Las Vegas in the great old US of A, and I'm here at reInvent 2023. I'm really excited to learn everything new related to VMware and AWS that's been announced at the conference. So here I am, I've got my badge, I'm ready to go. So let's find out and get stuck in. The next thing we get to talk about on the Update Show from reInvent is an exciting development, or a couple of exciting developments around VMware Cloud on AWS. And I'm delighted to be joined by Matt Dreyer from VMware. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Chris.
And I'm glad we managed to find the time to meet up while we were both at reInvent. So of those announcements, I think there's one really exciting new one that's pretty hot off the press. But before we get to that, let's talk about version 124, which is the latest release for VMC on AWS and was just GA'd just before reInvent itself.
Yes, we're so excited by this. As you know, our service has been running for 6 years. We've been doing 4 code drops a year, and so we're up to 24. And so we announced this back in Las Vegas, where we are now at the VMware show. And we've just now gone GA with these bits a couple of weeks ago.
So I think there was some really interesting, exciting features that have come with 1.24. And I know they've kind of been talked about a little bit in the past, but now they're actually in the product and available for customers. So let's cover off some of the high-level features that are available to customers in new SDDCs.
Yep, so first and foremost, it's the latest bits. So we've got the newest release of vSphere, vSphere 8.0 U2, which comes with all kinds of goodies. Along with that is the new NSX, so NSX 4.1.2. And so that again brings in more capability and bug fix and stability and everything else. But the other big kicker here is we've also got vSAN ESA. And so massive re-architecture and update to our vSAN technology, and something that customers are already very, very excited about.
Yeah, I think ESA is a really exciting thing to see for customers. Some of the benefits that are capable there are really going to help do more with less and faster as well. Somehow it's cheaper, it's faster, it's more space. It's all sides of the yeah, it's brilliant. So that's ESA, and then there's also VPC peering as well. So that's not specific to M24 as I understand it, or 1.24, but that is just available now as well.
Yep, available now. This one's huge, right? So one of the big innovations that we've been working on with a couple of partners, with both NetApp and AWS, is to bring AWS FSx-N, which is for NetApp, and bringing that expandable storage capability into the SDDC. So the first implementation of that worked well, but it was a little complicated, right?
Yeah.
You had to set up a TGW, you had to incur some data charges, and so, good like MVP, but probably not the one we want to sit on. And so with VPC peering, now all of those data charges go away. It's much simpler to wire up, and we think customers are going to be super happy with the rebuild here. So a couple of different ways to do connectivity into FSx for NetApp ONTAP, and that is now available for with 1.24 as well.
And is it 1.24 for VPC peering, or do older versions of the SDDC get access to VPC peering as well?
Great question. Yeah, so we're constantly upgrading the fleet. No SDDC left behind. And so we're constantly moving through and upgrading. And so if you've got a brand new deployment, you'll have that capability from day one. If you've got an older deployment, we'll either get to your upgrade or you can open a ticket and accelerate that process.
but you need to be on 1.24 for VPC peering to work.
Yes.
Right, okay, understood. And yeah, so new customers can get it from today, or new SDDC deployments, so if you're an existing customer, and as you say, you'll get through the fleet upgrading that. And VPC peering, one of the things that enables is, as I said at the top of the item, this new capability that's coming. So talk us through this, one of the things that really helps us with in terms of this new instance type.
You bet. So we are super excited. Throughout our history, we've started with the M3.metal instance, then we went to the i3 metal instance, and then next the i4i. And so in looking at the fleet and looking at what customers were asking of us, we co-invested with Amazon again to bring out another new instance type. And so we're excited to announce the new M7i instance type, which is going to deliver great new flexibility, new performance, new scalability on the storage side, and brings in all of the latest technology from Intel. And so we are going to launch this instance soon. It will eventually be available everywhere. We'll start in a few regions and go out. But this one's super cool. So unlike all of our prior instances that had storage that scaled perfectly as you deployed hosts, this one uses distributed storage. And so we can leverage that VPC peering, and we can attach either to VMware Cloud Flex Storage or to AWS FSx for NetApp ONTAP. And we can scale the storage from like 4 terabytes all the way up to 400 terabytes of storage. And so great economics, great performance, and a whole new set of knives to go architect with.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic complement to the instances that are available to customers today. And that ability to scale storage independently of compute, which our customers have really loved with the FSxM being released. And as you say, Cloud Flex storage is now, the vSAN layer is kind of removed. So you don't have to have that with it. So that reduces cost and gives even further flexibility. So that's great to see. Is there anything else that is kind of exciting and new or coming in the future that we can talk through?
So so this instance, I think, has a lot of really good aspects to it. So I think with the latest 4th generation processors from Intel, these codenamed Sapphire Rapids, they did a huge investment in reducing heat footprint, reducing power consumption, and so good for the planet, so always good. But they also put some new accelerators in. So they've put in these accelerators called AMX that allow you to do reasonable AI and Gen AI workloads right on the CPU. And so in the days of GPU shortages, like if you can get one, take it. If not, you can actually, with the new SDDC 1.24 and virtual hardware 20, take advantage of these new instruction sets and actually bump up the processing for AI ML workloads.
Okay, and very pertinent to both what AWS and VMware are working on these days. So that's brilliant. Okay, well, thanks for taking the time, Matt, out of a busy event to talk through those exciting updates. And hopefully we'll have you back on the show in the future. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, and good to see you in Vegas.
Cool.
Thanks, Chris.
Cheers, Matt. Cool, so the next item on the update show is to talk around a service that's had some updates this week at reInvent, which is AWS Backup, and those also relate to VMware and VMware Cloud on premises. And I'm delighted to be joined by Bizman on the show to talk us through those. Welcome to the show, Bizman.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you on here. So we're at reInvent, and there's always tons of excitement and services and updates. Super busy, but I know AWS Backup has had some updates. So let's talk through a few of them. The first one, which I think is really interesting, is the new restore testing capability. So let's kick off with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So as of yesterday, we just kicked off and launched restore drills, which we heard from customers. Your backups are only as good as if you can restore them. So with this new launch, customers can set up plans where they can choose backups at random or specifically and test restore them. So at a daily, weekly, monthly cadence, we can select the backups we want to take, and what we'll do is we'll restore them on your behalf, and we'll let you retain them either for a day, for however long. You can run any additional tests, and then once that's done, we'll delete them and clean them up on your behalf. So really big ask, and really excited to the launch.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting. When it was kind of first talked about, you kind of look and go, that's so obvious. Once you've kind of got the backup there and we've got the automation capabilities of the AWS Cloud, spin those up. What kind of use cases do you expect customers to tackle with this capability?
Yeah, so I think there's two main use cases where you're seeing customers. The first is just for that DR capabilities and assurance. Again, backups are only as good as if they're restorable. So we've seen customers want to make sure that their backups are restorable so that they do have that disaster case. They can be sure to deploy and get back to their clean data. The second use case we're really hearing and wanted to build this for was for those compliance purposes. So we do have a lot of customers in regulated industries such as financial services, healthcare, where regulators do require that they can restore their backups, which makes sense. So we're hoping that this can help customers easily show compliance and help them meet those regulatory needs.
So the next enhancement that I've seen is some kind of changes to the AWS Backup UI and some enhancements to help customers understand about their backups and plans. So can you talk through those?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our key tenets at AWS Backup is simplicity, and we really want to make it as easy to use for our backup administrators and customers. So we've recently launched the Jobs Dashboard, which is a new UI capability which will visualize the status of all of your jobs and any failures that might be happening. We're breaking this down by region, resource type, and it's just a really quick glance to see how you're doing across resources. We know a lot of our customers deploy at scales of thousands of backups weekly. So we wanted to build a tool that's easy to see and, more importantly, easy to troubleshoot if there is an issue.
It's a great example of listening to our customers and adding those features, like many of the features within the AWS Cloud. So we've got that restore testing, we've got the jobs dashboard. Is there any other capabilities that we're announcing this week?
Yeah, so not this week, but very recently we just previewed our logically air-gapped vaults. So now this is responding to a customer ask for more ransomware capabilities and protection. Logically air-gapped vaults is essentially a service-owned vault that has service-owned encryption. So if you do have, a bad actor in your account, the whole idea is that you can still access your backups, and you have that kind of ironclad vault for those disasters and ransomware attacks.
Yeah, okay. It's such a growing threat these days to have those capabilities. Brilliant. Okay. Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And, we're happy to take any questions and always looking for new customers.
Yeah, and I think if people need more information, they can go to the AWS website and search for AWS Backup, and they'll get all the latest information from there. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item we get to talk about on the update show is something I'm really excited to dive a little bit deeper into, which is the new M7i instance type and some of the capabilities, the engineering capabilities and new functionality that's been added to make that a reality. And I'm delighted to be joined by Andy Reedy to talk about that. Andy, welcome to the update show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And so just before we get into that, how's your reInvent been?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I've loved having a chance to talk to a lot of customers and hear the stories about the things that they're building and how they're using VMware Cloud and AWS in real production environments.
Brilliant. And so talking about production environments, talking about kind of capabilities and what our customers are using, we announced the M7i instance here at reInvent. And there's some capabilities around VPC peering and disaggregated storage that's using. How does that all work to kind of together?
Yeah, so we're really excited about the M7i announcement and the capabilities that it's going to bring to customers. We have heard feedback from customers throughout the years that they really do like the HCI capability that we've had with VMware Cloud and AWS, the ability to scale out and add compute and storage, and it's worked really, really well. But we have heard from some customers that they do want the ability to scale storage independently of compute.
Yeah.
And so, earlier this year, we launched the ability to have FSxN as a secondary storage option for VMware Cloud and AWS. So in addition to the distributed data store that vSAN provides using the local NVMe storage, you could now attach an FSxN volume as secondary storage. And that proved to be very valuable for a lot of customers to be able to add that storage and expand without having to add additional compute nodes or change the configuration of the compute nodes. We really took that feedback and kept rolling with it with the M7i.metal-24XL. This instance does not have any local NVMe storage, And we're able to use FSxN now as primary storage. So rather than just being a secondary storage option, we're now able to use this as primary storage, which allows us to enable new instance types that we haven't had in the past.
And it's really interesting. This is a kind of a natural evolution of the FSxN capability. You can use that for supplemental data stores, but you still had to have the vSAN because that was based on the i4 instance. Right. And now you go, well, actually, if we can introduce an instance type that doesn't have that instance storage, we can use that diskless instance. Well, one of the things that had in the past was you had to use Transit Gateway to connect to FSxN.
Right.
So I understand we've now simplified that with a VPC peering capability.
Right. As a part of the 1.24 launch, they've enabled VPC peering as a part of the solution. So what's really great about this is it enables us to use FSxN volumes that are actually running within a customer AWS account. So traditionally, VMware Cloud and AWS has run the compute and storage resources, everything contained within an account that is owned and operated by VMware. And then we would use an ENI to provide kind of data path connectivity over into a customer's VPC. Now we are leveraging VPC peering as a way to actually connect the storage, the FSxN storage, within a customer's AWS account. So VMware Cloud and AWS continues to run within an account that's owned and operated by VMware. FSxN runs in an account that is owned by the customer, and we're able to connect that using VPC peering.
And with that FSxN in a customer's account, then as a customer, you can configure that how you want to, that FSxN. You can use all of the capabilities that are available in FSxN, and some new capabilities announced on that in terms of performance as well. So what's the kind of customer experience like in terms of standing up M7i for the first time? So you don't have any local storage. Where does vCenter go? Where does NSX manage? Where are those pieces deployed?
It all behaves just as it did before. So from a customer perspective, you really don't have to pay attention or worry about any of the topology for vCenter or any of that stuff. Behind the scenes, VMware has deployed the storage for the management components within that account that they own and operate. But as a customer, it's completely transparent. It's a part of the managed offering of VMware Cloud. So we've really decoupled the management storage from the compute storage from the customer workload storage. So the customer will operate the FSxN storage for the compute workloads within their account. VMware operates the FSxN volume for the management components within their account. And it actually creates a really nice split, so you can see exactly what storage is needed just for your workloads.
And all of the storage that you're provisioning, you can use 100% for compute workloads.
That's correct.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the interesting use cases is around disaster recovery, where you can use these M7i for a pilot light infrastructure as well. Is there any other kind of use cases you're kind of anticipating people seeing M7i?
Yeah, I think like proof of concept testing, pilot light, really smaller environments where you have maybe 100 virtual machines or less, I think is a really fantastic story for this. At some point in time when you add enough M7i instances, it may be more economical for you to end up using an i4i or an i3EN instance, for example. But it's really great to be able to take these M7i instances, have a relatively small amount of compute and CPU and memory, but be able to scale the storage disproportionately as you would in the past. You could have a fairly small cluster with a really large amount of storage, which enables a lot of different use cases for customers.
Yeah, and of course you can mix instance types within an SDC. So you could start with a cluster at M7i and then add another cluster, mix and match with the different cluster with the different instance types for the different business needs you have.
Yeah, and I love that capability. You could have an initial cluster maybe as an i4i or an M7i, and be able to add secondary clusters or additional clusters that are designed for specific workloads or specific use cases. So maybe we're in a case where you need a smaller amount of compute or memory, but a large amount of storage, have a cluster set aside for that. In another case, you may use i3EN or i4i.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk us through that on the Update Show. Andy, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me.
And enjoy the rest of the conference.
Yeah, you too.
Cheers, thank you. So next up on the Update Show, we get to talk about a service that's had some significant updates here at AWS reInvent, and that service is Amazon FSx NetApp for ONTAP. And I'm delighted to be joined by Andrew to talk through that. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
And how's your reInvent been? I think you've had some launches earlier this week as well. So how's that been?
Yeah, it's been great. We had 3 pretty major launches on Sunday at the start of reInvent. So it's been really exciting to be able to connect with customers, share more about some of these launches, some of the new capabilities, and also hear from customers and partners about how they're using the service. So always exciting.
Yeah, there's a real buzz here, and it's great to be able to kind of communicate some of these services and everything back to the audience, and these launches and what's going on. In terms of these service updates, I know there was one in particular that I think is going to be really valuable for VMware customers as well in terms of the flexibility of FSxN, and that is the scale out capability now for performance. Can you talk us through a little bit more about what that new capability is?
Yeah, absolutely. So FSx ONTAP, we launched the service about 2 years ago. Gotten really great feedback from customers around the rich data management features that ONTAP provides. It's a big part of why we brought the service to AWS. Is a lot of customers rely on ONTAP, are used to its really rich capabilities, whether it's snapshots, clones, replication, multi-protocol, and ultimately, with FSx for ONTAP, we're giving customers these capabilities in the cloud. Now, one of the things that customers are always telling us is they're looking to do even more with their data as part of being in the cloud. And so whether it's kind of making their workloads run faster, do more, or often as part of coming to the cloud, customers are looking to do more analytics with the data that they do have. They'll leverage services like Athena and SageMaker and Bedrock now, and do a lot more with their data. And so what that means is performance and scalability are just an ever-increasing request customers have. So fast forward to this past Sunday, what we announced was a new scale-out option for FSx for ONTAP. Before, each file system was powered by a single pair of file servers, delivering up to about 4 gigabytes per second, 160,000 SSD IOPS. And with a scale-out file system, it's basically a horizontally scaled file system under the covers that delivers up to 9 times higher performance, so up to about 36 to 40 gigabytes per second of throughput, 1.2 million SSD IOPS. We also increased the maximum SSD storage size from 192 terabytes to about a petabyte as well.
Wow.
So it's all the features that customers love about ONTAP, snapshot cloning, integration with a number of services, VMC included, but the ability to scale to much higher levels of performance and storage.
Yeah, and that's great about the integration where we have that support with VMC, with FSxN, so that we can kind of use those capabilities. So it's great to see those coming and giving customers more options to scale out and performance as well. And especially with the M7i instance that was launched this week as well. For VMC, for VMware Cloud. So that's really interesting to kind of bring those two together. You mentioned some other kind of updates and launches this week. Can you talk through a number of maybe one or two of those updates?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, related to VMware Cloud, a few weeks before reInvent, really exciting announcement that came out. So originally, when we first integrated FSx for ONTAP with VMware Cloud, the way that customers would connect the two environments together was using a transit gateway, which is a great technology for connecting networks together. One of the challenges with that architecture was that there's a data processing fee, 2 cents per gigabyte, which meant that customers using FSx for ONTAP with VMC had a data transfer cost.
Yeah.
A really exciting announcement that came out just a week or two before reInvent was support for using VPC peering to connect FSx and VMC environments together.
Yeah.
So pretty significant launch just to reduce the overall TCO. There's also some performance benefits of VPC peering. It's a more direct network path that also delivers higher performance between the two.
Yeah, and a great example of kind of the collaboration that's happened between VMware and AWS to enable that capability. And it really opens the door for a much wider kind of use, I think, for FSx NetApp ONTAP. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And is there any other service updates you want to talk about that's happened while we're at the show?
Yeah, so another one, and this actually came as part of the scale-out launch. We added support for managing flex group volumes with FSx for ONTAP. So for those of you who are familiar with ONTAP, there's 2 types of volumes you can create. There's a flex vol, which is kind of a simple volume type, and a flex group, which is really optimized for high performance, high scalability. And so in concert with launching scale-out, we also now make it easy for customers to create, manage, and also create backups of flex group volumes natively using the AWS console and API.
Well, some significant updates which VMC customers can take benefits from, but also other AWS. And it kind of brings those things together. It's really a great service and a great collaboration between VMware and AWS. So,
absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us on the Update Show and taking time to walk through those recent updates.
Yeah, sure thing.
Welcome back, Chris. So how was reInvent?
Dries, it was absolutely amazing. We had a great atmosphere amongst the 50,000 attendees. It was fantastic to hear so many announcements around new capabilities, new functionality within the AWS Cloud. Plus, we had 5 awesome keynote addresses and over 2,000 sessions. I highly encourage our viewers to head over to the AWS YouTube channel and catch up with all the available recordings.
And what a great set of updates we've just heard about.
Yeah, a fantastic set of announcements that will really help our customers. And to find out more information about everything announced at the conference, our viewers can simply head over to the AWS website.
So that wraps up the December 2023 reInvent Special Edition. Thank you ever so much for joining us.
Thank you to the viewers at home for tuning in. And we'll be taking a break here on the Update Show for the holiday period, but we hope to see you all again in the future.
Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.